Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Chandler. Here's your talking points for this week. Well, Election Day is finally almost here, and for all the ads that we're seeing on the statewide races, the election that will affect your daily life more than any other is right here at home. Tuesday, we'll decide the future of Lubbock streets, and we'll dig through the details of this year's road bond with our city manager, Jared Atkinson. And from roadways to railroads, Texas Railroad Commissioner actually has nothing to do with railroads, but everything to do with our West Texas oil and gas economy. The chairman of the Railroad Commission, Wayne Christian, joins us to talk about his re-election campaign and his vision for the future of Texas energy.
From the studios of KAMC Television in Lubbock, your local election headquarters. This is Talking Points.
And happy Sunday. Thanks for joining us. 1 year ago this week, the city of Lubbock's plan to modernize and renovate our roadways failed at the ballot box. And ever since then, city and citizen leaders have been hard at work drafting our new plan for a street improvement bond. It's on your ballot now, and the last chance to vote on it is this Tuesday. We've said this before, but we cannot say it enough. Remember, it is a $200 million bond that targets 22 miles of roads to widen and improve, including streets that often have just become too small for their growing areas, like 114th, 98th, and East 82nd. It'll cost the average Lubbock home an increase in property taxes of about $16 per year for 5 years. And it's the city's chance to make an investment into our streets for the first time in 13 years, the last chance that we will have to do that for years to come. And joining us now to talk us through it is the city manager of Lubbock, Mr. Jared Atkinson. Mr. Atkinson, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Talking Points.
Ryan, thank you. Very glad to be here today.
So I know that you as a city official are not allowed to endorse the road bond one way or another, so I'm not going to ask you how we should vote on this.
Thank you.
It is important for us to at least have our facts straight before we do vote on it. Are there any misconceptions that you've been hearing from the community about what is actually on this road bond that you want to clear up?
You know, Ryan, no. I don't think that I have heard any misconceptions.
That's good.
I do think there's one thing that probably was talked about quite a bit as the City Council considered the recommendation from the Citizens Advisory Committee, ultimately pushed it forward and had it on the ballot. So, as you said, Tuesday. I think one of the items that was really important that was done differently this time, both the bond ordinance, so the legal document that says, voters of Lubbock, we have something in front of you. So the bond ordinance and a council resolution were put together, and it is to really provide that certainty to all of our residents. What happens? Okay, if the $200 million is approved, we've all seen the project list. We can go over it today if we'd like. But if this is approved, what are we going to do? And what we are going to do is exactly those listed projects. So the bond ordinance, council resolution both say very explicitly, if this bond is passed, these funds must go to those listed projects, period. No bond funds would be used for maintenance projects. So we do have an annual street maintenance program. That is repair. That's not expanding or creating new. These funds cannot go to maintenance. They go to that list. Once the list is finished, and I think the words are substantially complete, so if all of those listed projects are complete, and if funds remain, what happens next? Additional projects in that situation have to be similar in nature to the original projects upon which we all have a chance to vote. So again, expansion type projects, not maintenance projects, and any of those additional projects have to be presented in detail to the City Council for them to approve each and every time.
So it's not a blank check, is what you're saying. This is specifically designated money that is mandated to be spent on specific projects.
Yes.
And let's say there's money left over, then that will go back to a vote of the council to approve how to spend that. Is that right?
Absolutely. And for similar type projects only.
So there's guardrails, is what I'm hearing. Right?
There are good guardrails.
That's if it does pass. And I know we don't want to discuss this possibility yet, but what happens if it doesn't pass? What does that mean for our plans for the future of our streets?
Well, if it were not to pass, we don't have the funding to do these roadways at this time. And you would be looking to figure out a plan for the future.
How long would that take, though? When's the next opportunity that we could do another bond like this?
Cities can call elections, whether it's a bond or any other special item. We can call those elections 2 times a year. So the first Saturday in May, the first Tuesday in October.
Okay.
You can do that each and every year.
Okay. I know that the Citizens Advisory Committee has said that this is a list of strict needs and no wants, and it's not even a list of all of their needs. They said that they had $400 million of identified needs. They stripped that in half to give us the $200 million bond. Are there any other areas that the city would look to in the future that may not be addressed in this? Broadway comes to mind, perhaps?
Broadway's a good one to talk about. Significant discussion. The Citizens Advisory Committee did great work, and they really spent their summer every Friday working through this. Broadway was in. Ultimately, it was back out. The Citizens Advisory Committee told the City Council, you need to figure out what we're going to do with Broadway. There's 2 steps to that. What does Broadway look like? What exactly would a new Broadway be? Would it be full restoration of the historic bricks? Would it be some form of a hybrid style project, maybe with concrete or patterned concrete with asphalt, still retaining historical brick? There's all kind of options. They said, we need to figure that out. And then after that's done, you put a price tag to it and work towards the funding. So where we're going to go with that, Council's been very deliberate in their instructions to staff. We do have a city ordinance that describes Broadway and a couple of other streets and what you have to do to gain approval to go forward. That project will begin in earnest. We will be in front of our Urban Design and Historic Preservation Committee. That's a citizens appointed body. We'll be in front of our Downtown Tax Increment Finance Zone, the Downtown Redevelopment Group. We will take all of that, take different options, come up with recommendations, and that'll go back to the council. Council then will say, yes, we're going to approve Design A. You guys get busy. Let's work on the pricing for that. Come back to us. And at that point, you'll have a number, and then we'll have to come up with a proposal to fund it.
Y'all have a lot of work and a lot of planning ahead of you.
We do.
Not just on our streets, though. There's a lot of projects the city is working on, one of which is parks. There's a big new master plan in the works to improve and build upon our city green space. Where are we in that process right now?
Good question, and thank you. The City Council has just adopted our first new park master plan in some number of years, something around 20 years. Huge, long, lengthy process, tremendous public input, a lot of opportunities to participate. And I'll just rattle off a few of the things that came out of that. First, it's a 10-year plan. It says, here's where you stand today. Here's some priorities to take you forward, and here's how you might get there. It's a 10-year plan. Folks might be curious, how many acres of parkland does Lubbock, Texas have? And the answer is 3,472. We have nearly 3,500 acres of parkland throughout the town. 83 individual parks. And then, of course, you have Lake Allen Henry, 60 miles away from us, and all those. One of the things I found really fascinating, they asked, what are the top 6 facilities that you as a user of the parks, or if you're not a park user, would you come if you had these things? The top 6 were as follows. Hike and bike trails.
Sure.
That showed up number 1 on the list. Family picnic areas, which to me that's the core definition of a park, especially our neighborhood parks. Splash pads, natural areas, water access, kayaking, paddleboarding, canoeing, and others. So I know you participated and covered some of those events.
Absolutely.
You see the concept of the Blue Way that was presented. So we think of a greenway, it's a trail that gets us from here to there and to there. Well, the Blue Way is the same thing using water. So Lubbock has a resource no other city in West Texas has.
Yeah.
We have the Canyon Lakes.
There are so many exciting plans going on. We're excited to keep covering and watching the plans that are coming to our parks. For our streets, though, that's not certain. That will be up to all of us. So, Mr. Jared Atkinson, thank you for joining us and running us through those plans.
Ryan, thank you so much for having me.
If you want to learn more about the street bond before you vote on it, you can go to LubbockBondProject.com. And when we come back, we'll talk to Railroad Commissioner Wayne Christian about his plans for the future of Texas energy.